So in the absence of thought, that says things should be this way or that way, the mind is tranquil and peaceful. But the argumentative mind thought about how I want things to be, how things should be. Create a sense of division. An unhappiness. An impression of separate self. A personhood, a me. But what is this? The self. What is this me? Wherever you look, it keeps shifting. But you stubbornly hold on to that impression carelessly. Like a light that dims and flickers. That's how your love for truth, a flickering light. How can you love God part-time, partially? Nothing is in your way. When you choose the mind, you are served in the mind. When you choose God, you are served the divine. No one is tricking you but yourself. There is no outside trickster. Wanting an experience that is divine experience. It's still at the mind level. Only when you are willing to give it everything, when you are willing to give the experience of God your entire being, everything that you can imagine, only in such a wholehearted desire that transcends the mind, that's willing to surrender the mind, to give the mind to God. Only such a love reveals your destination, your true destiny, which is to know yourself, to know your true self, beyond the body-mind impression. Everything is a gift. Everything that arises is a ticket home. But when you take that ticket, label it, and file it in your likes and dislikes bin, in your personal preferences, in your future plans. You miss the invitation. It is impossible for any image to arise without the screen of consciousness. What precedes every image is the screen. If you keep going to the image, try to polish it and fix it and varnish it, manage it, you remain in the management business. That is not the happiness and the revelation of the screen of your true nature. That is simply more images on the screen. The splitting of the cells, the splitting of the amoeba into numerous, multiple cell systems. The substance of every manifestation, of every mind event, mind impression, is the borderless, eternal, aware presence that hears these words right now. Not a thing. Your interest in events, in personal experiences and feats, is the roller coaster ride of the mind. It's the illusion. There is no real mind. The reality of all impressions is not an impression. You are gifted. You've been gifted, you are gifted. Consciousness eternally gifts you itself. In everything that you experience that seems to be an experience is consciousness. You have to find that for yourself. To go to the world, go to the body, go to the mind, and see for yourself the substance, the true substance of what the mind refers to as the world, body, mind. Whenever you go to the world or to the body or to the mind, to explore, to contemplate its nature, its reality, where do you go? Where do you ever go? nowhere. You don't go anywhere. Notice that all impressions are made out of the aware presence, are made out of that does not arise, and yet is the reality of every perception, every sensation, everything you experience. It's the reality of everything. The reality of this reality. Whatever you point at, whatever you point to, you're pointing to that reality. You don't go anywhere. You don't point at anything. You're always pointing at that reality. The reality of consciousness. I know you like the mind journey, but I also know that you know the fallacy of it, the unhappiness of it, the misery of it. You ask yourself, oh gee, when will I cease this up and down, this roller coaster ride? When will I come to the peace, the eternal peace of presence? What is this I that asks this question? What is the I that you refer to? So tricky. So tricky. The dream character wants to wake up, but how can a dream character wake up when it has no reality of its own? How can a dream wake up? What is this you that wakes up? The self is ever awake. Consciousness is ever awake. It's wakefulness beyond all states. Don't imagine it. You are this borderless presence. You're the complete transparency of being. Notice how effortlessly you hear, you perceive. No need to do any effort. It's just the openness of being that perceives, that hears, that senses. But it is the freedom. It's the freedom of consciousness that you are. The freedom that knows no limitation. It's an effortless freedom, natural freedom. It's not something you need to achieve, to do, to become, to realize. It's already so. That is. Boundaries are imagined. You imagine a me, you imagine a specific body-mind. While all along it's consciousness experiencing itself, knowing itself, being itself. You are like the sun that looks at the moon and imagines that the moon is shining. While all along it is you, the sun, that is truly shining. Rather than looking through the lenses of the mind, invite the mind home. Bring it back to the source. You bring it back to the source by going to it. Not going to it in order to manage it or fix it or repair it. You go to it to realize its substance. But when you go to the mind, you don't go anywhere. You ask it to reveal its nature to you. You ask it, you invite it to reveal its substance. What are you made of? What are you? No argument, complete absence of argument. A simple wondering. Inviting the revelation. Just to reveal its true substance. But from a distance, it is thought that perceives the mind. It perceives the mind via its labels. that very process of perceiving thoughts, sensation, events through the label is the mind, is the limited mind, the separate mind. So rather than going with the label, with the thought, you go with your entirety. You go with your entire being. But you're really not going anywhere.